I met the lovely Stephanie Starrett about 4 years ago.
About 4 years ago, I was going to a Bible study as a leader that a guest speaker was speaking at, McDaniel, and I went knowing that he was going to be there, but never have met him yet.
And I saw this blonde girl that was playing sand volleyball at the time, and I thought, she's definitely not a freshman or sophomore.
I may or may not have put a little bit more makeup on that day, knowing that he was going to be there.
And I figured she was just a college student that was coming back to help with these younger kids, and didn't really think much of it.
And he spoke to all of these freshmen and sophomores and completely captured my heart. I listened to the way that he spoke and knew that what he had inside of him not only spoke to me, but I knew that I wanted to know more about him. And so afterwards I introduced myself
and told me that she was a senior at Liberty Christian, and kind of started to engage in a discussion, and it was really good. And that was kind of the end of it.
Little did I know I was introducing myself to my future husband, but we met.
And I wasn't really looking for a girlfriend at the time. I wasn't in a place to where I wanted to pursue anybody at that point. I kind of had figured that I was going to end up playing football somewhere outside of the state of Texas, and go to school somewhere outside of the state of Texas. And so that wasn't something that I necessarily wanted to get into, but I guess my high school curiosity got the best of me. And so I sent her a Facebook message.
Somehow tennis got into the conversation, and that I played.
I had this tennis headband, and I used it to play 7-on-7, but didn't use it to play tennis. And so I asked if she could maybe show me the ropes a little bit.
And I thought, I will absolutely show you how tennis is done. And so a few days later, we went to the courts and played tennis.
That was our first date, and she absolutely smoked me in tennis. But then we went back to my house, and we played a little bit of water basketball, and I beat her at that. Yes, I did.
And we just really thought the other person was so cool, and it was a blast. And I got to meet his family, and he got to meet mine, and so began a journey.
And then at the end of the night, I'll never forget it, because this is really when I think Steph really captured my heart. And she just spoke. She spoke her vision. She challenged me, and she asked me what my vision was for my life. It was absolutely amazing, and I thought, wow, what a phenomenal girl. And I knew at that point that this was a girl that I wanted to continue hanging out with.
I fell in love with him, and he didn't know that he was in love with me, but he was. But he figured it out a few months later, and by Christmas time, we both knew that we wanted to spend the rest of our lives together. And so that semester, after his football season in high school, we knew that we were about to embark on long distance, because he was going to Notre Dame and I was going to A&M.
So by December, it was solidified that this girl was going to be my wife, and this was somebody that I wanted to continue dating throughout college. And I made that clear to Mr. Starrett. I told him that his daughter was somebody that I could see myself potentially marrying, and I wanted to continue pursuing her in college. And he said, well, if that's something that you want to do, then you have my blessing, and I hope it works out for both of you guys.
So we soaked up every last second that we had together before I sent him off to Notre Dame. And then we embarked on probably the hardest 2.5 years of our lives.
The season began to where, we would spend that 2.5 years apart. And it was indeed a brutal season.
Just never being able to be at rest with being together, because we always knew we'd have to say goodbye within the next 24 to 48 hours. And so that was really tough. And one of the most defining moments in that season of our relationship was one night I called him, I think at 2 a.m. I was in tears, and I called him saying that I felt like I needed to break up with him because I couldn't handle the heartache of being so connected to him yet so disconnected in a way, and not knowing when it was coming to an end. And so I thought that was the only way to escape that. And so I told him that, and I said, I think that's what I need. And it was the last thing I really wanted, but that's what I said. And what came out of his mouth in response to that, it set us in a different place, because he said, Stephanie, if that is something that you feel like you need, then I'm not going to stop you, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to marry you. And as hard as this is, I'm not disassociating myself with you as my girlfriend and my future wife. And that's all I needed to say. And I decided from that point forward, no matter what, that we were going to be together. And so the next year, I finished school at A&M and transferred up to Indiana, and we reunited, and we have been in the same city for the past few months, and it's been awesome. It's been an absolute blast.
It was actually after the national championship game, when we got it handed to us by Alabama, that I decided that I wanted to talk to Mr. Sterrett, and you know, I texted Jeff and I said, hey, is there any way that we can meet up tomorrow morning at breakfast, maybe before Steph wakes up? I just got something that I wanna run across to you. And he said, for sure, we could definitely do that. And so we met up, and I told him, I said, hey, I want to marry your daughter. I want to ask your daughter to marry me. What do you think? And we had a very good conversation, and ultimately he gave me his blessing. And so the planning began. Actually, I've been planning this kind of for a long time. I've always wanted to do something around water, and just so happened to turn out that I'd won an AvoCare incentive trip to Hawaii, and I knew that her family was already planning a trip to Hawaii at about the time that I was wrapping mine up, and so this was perfect.
And I knew that Cam was in Kauai, and I knew that we had coordinated him coming to spend the last couple days with our family before he had to fly back. But little did I know that he had a much bigger plan than just coming in a couple days before he left. On a Sunday, we had family pictures, and I was planning on seeing him on a Tuesday.
I coordinated it with her parents and her brother, and we all made it happen. It was awesome.
We went out to the beach to take photos, but beforehand, I just remember getting ready in the hotel and my family being kind of scattered and kind of stalling, and I was ready, I think before everybody else was, which was kind of a shocker because normally that's not the case. But
we had coordinated to where they were taking family pictures at the time, but I was actually on the beach that they were taking family pictures.
We head down towards the lobby, and again we're stalling, and little did I know at this point Cam was getting to the hotel and trying to get out to the beach before we had made it. And so my dad had left for a little while and then come back, and we're just sitting at this restaurant before we go out to take pictures. It wasn't even open. We're just sitting at the bar, and my dad comes back, and I have my hand on his back. He's completely drenched in sweat, and I remember thinking, Dad, where did you just go? Why are you sweating? And he said, I don't know, I'm just really hot right now. And so I was just going with that. I said, great. And so we left the restaurant and started heading out to the beach and taking family photos. And the photographer said, now I want to get just some single shots with you. And so I said, okay. And I just started working the camera, getting my individual shots. And then I see my family back away from me and then look behind me.
I had gone out into the water. I was snorkeling while they were taking their pictures, and actually swam up to the beach behind them, and was able to take all my flippers and gear off and stuff, and you can kind of see me in the background of the pictures. But then there she was. I saw her with her family, and they were taking pictures, and their backs were turned to me. And I walked up to them, and the photographer said, "Hey man, we're trying to get pictures. Can you get out of the way?" Of course, he was in on the whole thing too. And then Steph saw me, and to see the expression on her face was absolutely amazing.
There were a million things going through my mind at once. One of them was, did you swim here? Because I was so shocked that he was there, and I didn't know where he came from. Obviously he was wet, so he came from the water, but he was walking up to me and he had this seashell in his hand, and I knew what it was, and I could hardly contain my excitement. And he came up to me and in the sweetest, cutest, shakiest voice I ever heard said,
"Stephanie, will you marry me? I want to steward your heart, and I want to be your husband." And she said yes.
I tackled him, actually, and I'm really glad that he's super strong, because I think I could have, taken him out. It was a bad position to just tackle someone, but I jumped and said yes, and it was one of the most amazing days of my life. I absolutely loved every second of it, and he did an absolutely phenomenal job. It was just perfect. So,
just been a fantastic season, and we are just so looking forward to what God has in store for us for our marriage. So looking forward to having her joining my family, the McDaniel family. I'm so looking forward to being a part of the Starrett family with Mr. Starrett, Jeff, and Sherry. You guys are amazing. And then Grayson, you're my new brother, man. I love you. I love you guys, and we're excited.
We are now coming to the end of our dating and engagement season of 4 years, and we are so excited to get married. Whenever I think about marrying Cam, I haven't been able to sleep like the past 4 nights, because I'll just lay there and think, we're about to be married, we're gonna go on a honeymoon, and just the excitement is it's unreal. It really is. Whenever I think about who I wanted to marry whenever I was a little girl, like, it's over and beyond. Cam is over and beyond that, and I couldn't be more thankful for him and the family that I'm going to be able to now call my own. Gavin and TJ and Mama Diane and Papa Danny. It's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited for the future.